typical week in the role, it involves a lot of in and out of the office, I'd say. I'm out of the office pretty much every week at some point in some shape or form. Particularly for your projects, you will probably be expected to do like press releases, help with some of the social media content when it comes to your projects in particular. You might be asked to help with the weekly newsletter at times. And you'll also be doing general intern roles, so things like going out with Martin to do potential funding meetings, and other people with other community projects. You won't be making the coffee. I came to the Arts Council with 3 project ideas and then carried out 2 of them in the year that I've been here. One is the book that you can see there, and the other one is Island Artcast, which is the Arts Council podcast. I've worked on them for the whole year. First thing I did when I started the job was I did my research in them, and then I had to put a paper together to go to the council to propose the projects, and then once I'd had the grant approved, I then. So leading a project like Ellen requires a whole lot of organisation. I'd say this is probably the one, between the podcast and Ellen, it's the one that definitely took over more of my job. Mostly because the things I wanted to focus on, and I would recommend this for anyone going into your interview and planning your projects, is you'll obviously think of the creative side of things first and foremost, whatever your creative outlet is, but a successful project is one that has community value, so engages with the community in a positive way, educational value, if it can relate to education in any way, and its environmental value. The Arts Council are in partnership with the Biosphere, so anywhere that they can come in with that and work together is really positive for the projects. And so I was busy a lot of the time trying to coordinate those 3 things as well as the project itself. So for running Ellen, I was doing the marketing plan, I was not looking after the budget, but I was sourcing all the financing for it and making sure that all of that was within the budget that we were given. Other things that I did, I planned the educational program for it, I conducted the press releases, I contacted people directly and put out posts aside of that, just because I really wanted to get as many people as possible involved, so having that motivation definitely pays off at the end of whatever project you do. And then I had things that happened, like I didn't just make the book. I think a good idea is to start with the idea, which is the book, and then a successful project is one where you can then think of things that will come off like tangents off the side of that. Podcast is something that you're welcome, that I've brought into your life. You will need to host and plan Island Artcast episodes. The editing, you'll kind of work with Martin on that one, so there'll be a bit to do, but he will sort of teach you the ropes. But the premise of the show essentially is targeted at like an audience like myself, is how I kind of thought about it. I'm a young creative moving into the industry, and I'm aware that the creative industry path is not straightforward. It's not like nursing or accountancy where you know exactly where you need to go and what you need to do. It's way more of a windy road. And the podcast was designed to get people on who are working in the industry that can shed some light on what your options are, and give you an idea of what different jobs are out there, as well as discussing relevant topics that are going on in the art world, just so that you can stay updated and know what's going on. So it's really trying to structure episodes like that. Obviously, when you come in with whatever your creative outlet is, start with an episode that's with your outlet. I started with a Meet the Team episode, but then I made sure to put in an art episode in there somewhere, so that if I felt nervous, I was like, right, okay, I'm going to start early on with something that I know really well about, so you know that you can talk about it. And please don't feel nervous about recording the podcast. I know it sounds like a bit of a nerve-wracking thing if you're not used to talking in front of people, you're not used to presenting something. It's pre-recorded, so like the guests that come on, they're always nervous when they start, and within the first 10 minutes, every single one of them are fine. I've never had someone that's not enjoyed it or stayed nervous all the way through, and you will be exactly the same with whatever episode you do. An ideal candidate for this role is someone who can dream big but knows how to bring it down to reality. So you can come up with an idea that's as big as you want it to be, something that's on island, off island, like there's not any limits, there's no restrictions, but you have to make sure that it's something that you can carry out. Think about the time frame that you have, and make sure that you can organise your time in that. I think organisational skills are actually really important for this role. If you're managing multiple projects at once that you are leading, you need to know that you need to know everything that's happening, you need to know where everything is and where you're up to with everything. So make sure that you know how to get yourself organised, at least in a work setting. And I think someone that wants to get stuck into everything. There's so many elements of this job. There's like my own project, which obviously I'm super passionate about, but I love being involved in the team thing, and we have like some out of work hours and we have some weekend shifts, and so it's really important that you have the motivation to like want to be involved in them, because otherwise you're not going to be able to enjoy it that much, because it is a lot of hard work, but if you really love what you're doing, it like really pays off. Well, you know, we're a small team, so someone who wants to help others as well, we definitely help each other out. So advice for candidates, I think 1, go into your interview with 3 projects. I only did 2 throughout the year, but I went in with 3, so it's better to come with a couple more than you will actually do, so that you have options obviously for whoever's interviewing you to consider. I think when it comes to proposing your projects, you don't need to have everything thought through. How Ellen ended up is not how I envisaged Ellen starting at all, but I think as long as you have a project that has a solid concept in the beginning when you go into your interview, and you can see potential for it to grow in different directions, those are actually really good things to take into the interview as well. Ready to consider, to say, this is the base of it, this is how I'm going to get started, and then there's possibility for it to go to ABC places. So I think those are the main things. Make sure that it's a realistic idea, but it's not, you know, it doesn't have to be small, because you're doing an internship, you can tailor it to what your creative outlet is, and I think really take advantage of that. So start with a big idea and then work your way down to you're ready for the interview. I have enjoyed my year, I've had a great time. Like I said, being able to tailor a job to what I want to get out of the job is so unique. Like, it's not really something that you'll get at many other internships. To essentially suggest the projects that you're working on. I got to plan events, activities, work with the community. They're all things that I didn't even know how much I love doing it, and now I want to like leave this job and go and do more of that. So yeah, it's been an unexpected year, but really great at the same time.